After the devastation of World War II, Germany found itself fractured. The victorious Allied powers, the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and the Soviet Union, divided the defeated nation into 4 occupied zones. This division was intended to be temporary, a means to rebuild and denazify Germany before its eventual reunification. However, as the Cold War intensified, so too did the divisions within Germany. The ideological chasm between the capitalist West and the communist East deepened, turning the former allies into wary adversaries. Berlin, located deep within the Soviet sector, mirrored the divisions of the nation. The city was itself divided into 4 sectors, with the Western allies controlling West Berlin, a capitalist enclave within communist East Germany. The stark contrast between the prosperity of West Berlin and the economic struggles of the East became a powerful symbol of the Cold War divide. Millions of East Germans, yearning for freedom and opportunity, fled to the West, exacerbating tensions between the 2 German states. The construction of the Berlin Wall in 1961 solidified the division of Germany. This concrete barrier, heavily guarded and stretching for miles, brutally severed families, friendships, and the very fabric of German society. For nearly 3 decades, the Berlin Wall stood as a stark reminder of the human cost of Cold War rivalries and the suppression of freedom. In the dead of night, on August 13, 1961, East German troops, acting on orders from the Soviet Union, began sealing off East Berlin from the west. Barbed wire fences, hastily erected, snaked through the heart of the city, separating families, friends, and neighbors. This initial barrier, crude yet effective, was soon replaced by a more permanent structure, the Berlin Wall. The wall, constructed of concrete slabs topped with barbed wire and patrolled by heavily armed guards, became a physical manifestation of the Iron Curtain that had descended across Europe. The construction of the Berlin Wall sent shockwaves around the world. Western governments condemned the action as a violation of human rights and a symbol of communist oppression. For the citizens of Berlin, the wall was a tragedy of immense proportions. Families were torn apart, their homes and livelihoods separated by an impenetrable barrier. The wall became a potent symbol of the Cold War, a stark reminder of the human cost of ideological conflict. Despite the risks, many East Germans attempted to flee to the West, their desperation fueled by a yearning for freedom and a better life. Escape attempts were fraught with danger, often ending in tragedy. The East German border guards, under strict orders to prevent escapes, showed little mercy. Scores of men, women and children were shot and killed while attempting to cross the wall, their deaths serving as a grim reminder of the high price of freedom. As the 1980s progressed, the grip of communist rule began to weaken across Eastern Europe. Economic stagnation, political repression, and a growing desire for freedom fueled discontent among the people. In Poland, the Solidarity movement, led by Lech Walesa, challenged the authority of the communist government, inspiring hope for change across the Eastern Bloc. In the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev's policies of Glasnost, or openness, and Perestroika, or restructuring, ushered in an era of unprecedented reform, weakening the Soviet grip on its satellite states. The winds of change sweeping across Eastern Europe soon reached East Germany. Mass demonstrations calling for democratic reforms and an end to communist rule erupted in cities across the country. The East German government, facing mounting pressure from its own people and the crumbling Soviet Empire, began to make concessions. Travel restrictions were eased, and the once unthinkable, the possibility of German reunification, was openly discussed. The fall of the Berlin Wall in November 1989 marked a pivotal moment in the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe. The wall, once a symbol of oppression and division, was breached by the sheer will of the people. The reunification of Germany, a long-held aspiration for millions of Germans, suddenly seemed within reach. The world watched in amazement as the events unfolded, sensing that a new era was dawning, one in which the barriers of the Cold War would finally be dismantled.